morning and welcome again to the Haven Financial Group radio show. I'm Larry Colvig, founder and CEO of the Haven Financial Group. Thanks for listening and feel free to give us a call, 612-504-8400 or havenfinancialgroup.com. All kinds of retirement tools on there and events and educational events upcoming as we head into the fall, which fall is here. And Lance Larson, our CPA, is going to be with us talking about taxes and retirement. And again, we always talk about forward-thinking tax planning, doing what we can do now to minimize or reduce taxes later. And that's so very important. So again, feel free to give us a call, 612-504-8400.
Well, gentlemen, we were talking about this off at the top of the show, and we were saying that, things ebb and flow and you have to sort of plan around it. But one thing is for certain, taxes are always going to be there. And a lot of people believe that in retirement, their taxes will be lower. And that's not necessarily the case. You definitely need a strategy for drawing your money in an effort to protect your money. So let's get right to this with Lance. One of the most important things, Lance, it seems like to me, you must sit down and talk to people about is which monies to draw when, and that will be a tax advantage. That's certainly what you're looking for.
Exactly, Kim. So when we look at the money that people have in retirement, we can kind of lump it into two different buckets, either our pre-tax dollars or some post-tax dollars. The pre-tax dollars would include your IRA, 401ks, 403bs. People might be having a simple plan, a SEP plan. All these monies have been funded with pre-tax money, meaning that there was a deduction in when they first made the contributions. Post-tax money, we're talking about like Roth IRAs, non-qualified brokerage accounts. This would also include savings accounts, checking accounts, and a variety of other different accounts that were funded with money that's after tax.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And so we like to have these different buckets right there because they have different tax implications when we pull that money out.
Sure, absolutely.
And so in the retirement years, we definitely want to have our pre-tax money and use that to fill up our 10 and 12% tax brackets we have right now.
Mm-hmm.
That is the absolute cheapest money as far as tax goes. And then if we need to have more money, then we start looking at, does it make sense to keep pulling from those pre-tax accounts, or does it make sense to start pulling from some of those post-tax amounts?
Sure. Again, this is one of those things that it's really terrific to have a partner who can look at all of your investments and make determinations as to which one is most advantageous to draw money from at certain times. Let's talk about Roth and what that can do to help you reduce taxes.
So with the Roth accounts, this is, again, money that we've contributed with after-tax money. And so the Roth, the benefit of those ones is that the growth is going to be tax-free. There are a couple caveats that we have to adhere to, such as the Roth account has to be in existence for 5 years. We have the normal retirement factor that you have to be over 59 and a half in order to draw on those funds. But assuming we meet all these criteria, then the Roth accounts are going to be a perfect place to pull from when we want to have tax-free money.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. But you have to have some flexibility there, obviously, because you can't just sit waiting to draw money for 5 years. There's got to be other dollars somewhere.
Exactly. And so this is one of the things that we like to do with the Roth conversions in the early part of retirement, so we can start that 5-year clock. Yeah. It's even better if we have clients that come in that have already had a Roth account open. And this is also when we talk to clients who have kids and grandkids that say, hey, let's get them to start opening up a Roth account for them as well. And so we're just not working with clients today on their stuff. We're also trying to help out their families and the future generations as well.
Absolutely. That sort of drew me to estate planning. That's an important part of it.
It is. And so with estate planning, when we're thinking about leaving money for our loved ones there, we want to put them in the best possible tax situation that we can. And so if we have the choice to leave a traditional IRA or to leave a Roth IRA to our beneficiaries, we prefer to leave that Roth IRA 10 times out of 10.
Kim, if I may add to that, Roths are typically the last thing people touch because it does have a benefit, tax-free to the beneficiaries, because the baby boomer generation and other generations have oftentimes saved, hopefully they've saved a decent amount, a large amount in pre-tax IRAs, and that's great. But oftentimes the beneficiaries may be the kids, and oftentimes when the kids do inherit, they may be at their peak earnings years as well. And now thanks, mom and dad, for this pre-tax IRA money that you've left us. But now they're in a high tax bracket, which ultimately gets taxed. So Roth is really where we want to get it. And, we just now are in September. We're not far off fourth quarter. And this is where we're having these discussions with all of our clients and folks that we sit down with, because we want to fill up that 12% tax bracket, pay less taxes now or future higher percent taxes in the future. I think there's a pretty easy answer to that. So again, missed opportunities. Just this last week, I had a couple in, and they had the ability for the last 2 years to do IRA to Roth conversions. They have no partner. They had no tax planning discussions, and they missed it. Those are the things we don't want to miss. And, we started the segment by saying, where do we draw from? A pre-tax or Roth. This week I had several couples, and I think of a couple from Lakeville that has saved very, very well, 64 years old, both of them. And they're approaching retirement. And they've done a great job saving in their 401ks. But they looked at their conversation was, we have no idea where to start or where to draw from when we retire. And we realized we need some assistance and we need some help.
Sure.
We had Lance in, we had the investment team in, and at the end of the day, that's the attention people deserve, so they can avoid making some of these commonplace mistakes that just shouldn't be common.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, so what you're saying is that the couple that you mentioned first, they missed 2 years of their 5 that they could have already had that money in there.
They had the potential of converting about $100,000 in 2 years into Roth at a low tax bracket. Yeah. And they had no idea. And this year, we're not going to miss that opportunity, because now we've had the conversation in fourth quarter. That's when these conversions, that's when we're going to initiate the conversations and take action to make sure we don't miss that. Because the deadline on this is the end of the year, and we don't wait till the end of the year. We kind of draw the line in the sand by December 15th at the absolute latest, to make sure we get it done by the end of the year.
Okay, so you've answered my next question, which was, is this the best time of the year to do it, or can you do it at any point in the year?
You can do it at any point, but we want a good idea of what your current year's income is going to be, so we can actually do the projection as far as, okay, you have this much wiggle room to fill the bracket up, whether filing single, head of household, or married filing jointly. We have a better indication in fourth quarter, so that's why you typically have that conversation then.
So if you're someone who doesn't want to miss those deadlines, maybe you don't know about the deadlines, like the couple that Larry was talking about, you certainly don't want to miss 2 years. Or if you have other questions related to your taxes and how to draw your money most tax efficient, give the folks at Haven Financial Group a call. It's 612-504-8400. Again, that's 612-504-8400. Tell them you heard us here on the radio. When we come back, we're going to continue to talk about taxes. This time we'll talk about RMDs and why they are a key part of your tax strategy. This is the Haven Financial Group Radio Show.